In this video, I'm going to show you how to scrape unlimited B2B leads from Google search with Agentic AI, so you never have to do a manual scrape or pay for an expensive lead database again. If you don't know me, my name is Jose Robinson, and I booked over 400 calls over the past year leveraging Agentic Workflows. We need the initial dose framework, we need the Apify scraper, we need the extraction script, and finally we need to export to CSV. So step one, let's go into AntiGravity. This works on Cloud Code or any other agentic IDE, just like AntiGravity. We're going to open folder, and I'm going to create a new folder. Great, now we open it. Click yes. So the next thing we need to do is we need to initialize the environment with the dose framework. So this is the initial prompt that we're going to use. It basically uses a 3-layer architecture as well as a safeguard layer as well. Basically, the first layer is the directive, which is what to do. And this is just your SOPs that are written in Markdown format. Basically, we're just defining the goals, the inputs, the tools, and the scripts. And we basically write this as if we were writing a standard operating procedure for one of our normal human employees. The second one is the orchestration layer, which is the decision-making layer. So AI is fantastic when it comes to decision making, but it's not good when it comes to the execution, which is why we separate this. So in orchestration, its goal is to read the directives, call execution tools in the right order, handle errors, ask for clarifications, and so on. So AI is not going to try scraping the websites themselves. They're basically managing the scraping, if that makes sense. Next layer is the execution, and basically this is deterministic code that does the actual executional work for us. And the reason we have this separated is because AI is probabilistic. That means that every time you run a command, you're going to get a probability of outcomes, while in business, we need things to be deterministic. We want the same action to happen over and over without having to worry about the AI doing something that wasn't intended, and the errors tend to compound. So if we have a 90% accuracy in every step, which sounds not that bad, but this is actually only a 59% success rate over 5 steps. So what we do is we push the complexity into the code, and the AI just focuses on the decision making itself. And finally, we have safeguards. So safeguards or guardrails, we need to give it guardrails to make sure it doesn't do something we don't want it to do. For example, we have a budget circuit breaker. It hard stops if we're spending too much money on the API. Loop detection, we auto kill it if the same tool is running over and over again in a loop. That's an issue that a lot of these agents have. Same with API key safety. There could be prompt injections where someone can steal your API keys. Math double check, and then as well as dangerous command block, where we auto block any dangerous commands that can put the machine at risk, as you can brick your device. We have some more principles here, and if you want this exact document, you can get it below in the link in the description. And if you want me to build out a lead gen system or act as your fractional AI officer, there's also a link in the description to book a call with me. So let's go ahead and copy and paste this. Let's go back to AntiGravity. And what we're going to do is we're going to add it here in the top left corner under new file. We're going to name it agents.md. We're going to paste it, and we want to do a Command S to make sure we save the file. Now we want to initialize it, Please initialize agents.md. Treat this as a completely separate environment, so don't add any information from the other workspaces I have. And now we just wait for it to finish processing. Great, so you could see in the top left corner, we have our folders for temporary, we have our credentials, we have our directives and executions, and we have the .env. It did, due to the safeguards, it's asking us what the dollar amount should be to trigger the budget circuit breaker for the API. In this case, I'm going to put $10. Great, now we have our workspace set up, so we can go ahead and start with the scraping logic. Keep in mind, it doesn't matter what you're building, you always want to start off with this document, and you can grab it in the description below for free. Great, this is done. So now we need to connect the Appify scraper. So I'm going to be using this Google Maps scraper. It's able to extract data from all Google local businesses. And in this case, we're going to create the scraper slightly different. You can see the pricing, it's about $4 for every 1,000 results, which is a great value. But you could see also that for any enrichment, it's actually going to charge us $100 per 1,000. Social media enrichment, $100 per 1,000. So you could see how this can actually start adding up. So what we're going to do is we're going to use just the places scraped, and then we're going to create the Python scripts in order to do these completely for free, so we don't have to pay for it. So I have the SOP here in Markdown. The objective is to generate a data set. In this case, for this example, I'm doing medical spas, but it works with accountants, lawyers, barbershops, any marketing agencies, anyone that has some sort of physical location on Google Maps. And we're not going to trigger the enrichment or additional detail fees. We specify the tool that we want. We only want the name and the website URL. We have the agent instructions. And then we have our zero cost enrichment phase 2, which tells it how to get the phone numbers, email address, Instagram link, and business summary. And finally, phase 3, we have a CSV named final leads containing all of this data. Let's copy that. And we're just going to give it the command. While it does that, you can pretty much work on something else. You can go ahead and grab a cup of coffee. You can just pretty much let it run in the background, as you don't really have to babysit it. When you're first building it out, you might want to stay just to make sure you can give it the API keys and everything it needs. But once it starts building, you really don't have to watch it too much. Great, so it's created the directive. It's writing the implementation plan. And it's probably going to ask us for our Appify key. So once it does, we're going to go ahead and supply that to it. In order to get your API keys, you need to go into your settings in Appify, and then you just click into API and integrations, and just copy this. And we pretty much want to add the API key into the .env with the little gear icon. But I'm not going to do that on screen for obvious reasons. Okay, I've added the API token. Can you confirm that you have access without exposing it? Great, so we have the API token working. Also, what's interesting is it's telling us to run the 3 scripts in sequence, but we actually want it to run it for us, because it doesn't make sense to just break them apart. You should run all 3 scripts in sequence. It should be one end-to-end workflow. Please find 50 med spas in the New York City area. So this is one of the reasons why we have the API limitation, budget limitation in our safeguard section. Is I told it to find 50, and it actually went out and found 800. So you could see how that could become a problem if we don't have a limitation in place, as it may not do what you say 100% of the time. And it's also taking very long. You can see it's doing it sequentially. So what we want to do is, this is taking too long. Please enrich them using parallelization. Finding the information on these 800 med spas would have taken 45 minutes. What we want to do is parallelization, where it's finding groups of them at a time instead of doing it one by one by one by one. So maybe it's processing 5 or 10 at a time instead. Also, I asked for only 50. It's fine for this run to just keep the 873, but in the future, please create some sort of script or something to make sure we're only getting the amount that I requested. And basically, when you're building these types of agentic systems, you know, the first run, the first time you do it, the first couple of times, there's going to be mistakes or errors that the AI makes. But as it discovers more and more edge cases, it becomes battle tested or refined, where after the 5th or 10th run, it's not going to make mistakes anymore. You can also see how much faster we've already processed 300 of them in, I don't know, 20-30 seconds. So now it's adding a safeguard called max crawl places to make sure it doesn't give us more leads than what we requested. Great, it looks like it found all 873. It saved them into final leads, and it found the phone number, emails, and Instagrams for a good amount of them. What we can actually tell it to do is, hey, I'm too lazy to look up the file, just open it for me on my computer. Go here, and you can see it opened it up for me. Let's take a look at the data to see if there's anything we need to refine or change. So I can already see there's some issues with the business name where it's not cleaned up. To be fair, we didn't tell the agent to clean up the business names. For example, we have all caps here. We have them in several different languages because maybe that's how they have it in their Google Maps. But if we're doing an outbound campaign, you know, if we send this like this, hey, reset cosmetic flushing, Botox E-mode, and then whatever that means, it sounds very automated. So that's one thing we want to fix. We have the website URL. These look great. We have their phone numbers. We have the email addresses of the ones that we were able to find. Keep in mind, especially for local businesses, they're not always going to display their email addresses, but we can supplement that, as we do have the Instagrams for some of them that do not have the email address. So at least maybe 70-80% of this list is usable. Then we have a summary of what they actually do. So I'd say this isn't too bad. So let's go ahead and fix the company name. Okay, this looks great, but there's an issue with the company names. To be cleaned, there's some that are using both the English and foreign language. This list needs to be optimized so we could send automated code campaign to it. So we don't want it to look like we just did a scrape and send. What I'm going to do is clean up the company names, but then it's also going to update the directives where it will automatically clean up the company names for any future run. Let's take a look at the new company names, and you can see it's already a lot better. We got rid of the all capitalizations, we got rid of the unnecessary characters, and these are pretty much ready for outbound. We go back to AntiGravity, we can see that we have a script for the Appify initial scraping. We have a script for the enrichment process, script to clean the names that it then added in after our feedback. And finally, to compile the leads in CSV. That way, we pretty much get the same expected result every single time, instead of having the AI make mistakes. If you want the initial agents.md file so you can initialize every single anti-gravity session with this architecture, you can get it for free in the description. If you're a B2B business making at least 25K a month and you're looking for a automated lead gen solution or a fractional head of AI, you can also book a call with me below in the description. Make sure to subscribe. I'm going to be releasing a lot more agentic workflows, and I'll see you on the next one.